he coming back? Oh no.
Yo!
Okay.
I got you.
They call me Pounds, here I'm known as 978 Customs create, plus I rhyme.
Great. YouTube, welcome back to another 978 Customs video, and today we have the unbelievable Gwenpool from the Marvel Legends Blizzard Build-A-Figure series. And this is a pretty cool figure. Off the back, I want to say I was able to find a majority, in fact all of the figures at Target, and they sold me all of them except Gwen. It didn't ring up for some reason, but the manager gave me a hard time in selling me the Gwenpool because it didn't ring up in the system, and so I walked away without Gwenpool that day. And it's a long story, I'll explain a little more. Here's the side of the box. She looks pretty cool. And here's the back. And here are the rest of the figures from the wave. A self-made hero from the so-called real world, Gwenpool possesses unrivaled knowledge of the comic book universe. I forgot to do this with Punk in Noir, but here's the tail that comes with Gwenpool. It's a pretty decent tail, I suppose. There's a lot to talk about with this lizard figure, so if you guys want to see that review, please stick around the week. I should have it up this week. This tail bends one way, and then one part bends horizontally and then the other part bends vertically, and I understand why, but it just looks a little squarish. Plugs in right to the back.
Hello, honey, it's about me.
Cool heart-shaped hands straight out of the package, but those are useless kind of unless you want to take some like photos. She's very photogenic, and so she even comes with her own iPhone, and that's pretty cool, I guess. If you're a selfie kind of person, I suppose that's pretty cool. I think the girls would like this figure a lot. I think they try to cater to the females, and I think it's a hit. I think some females may actually like this. I personally like this myself, and I don't like female figures. Here are the accessories she comes with: an alternate head with the tongue sticking out, a peace hand, a gripping hand for the iPhone. There it is. Grips for the phone. Cheap little phone. But it serves its purpose. 2 katanas. And that's pretty much it. Oh, yep, 2 katanas, cell phone, and 2 other hands, and the alternate head. So I might have to paint that phone just for some fun purposes. But with those 2 hands, you can get some cool pictures out of her. So she is pretty cool, and that tongue looks pretty nice. One thing I want to mention about these swords, though, if I can really quick, is that the paint they used on them is terrible because it rubs immediately, and it's rubbing on the back of her head, and you can see that me just wiping it down on this paper, the paint is rubbing off. So I don't know if the paint they use is terrible or they didn't seal it. I don't know, honestly. I just feel like this is kind of unacceptable because she's all white, and you can see that the paint is smudging on the back of her head straight out of the box. And I've had really little time to pose her around and stuff because the swords sit in the sheaths, and because they're so tall they rub up on her head. Once in your hand, I can't really complain much if you already know what to expect from a female figure as far as articulation wise. A little cool penguin, but the deco is painted nice, and it is, like I said, it's a pretty cool figure. I have another one here if you're wondering why. I'll give you a sneak peek of the next custom. Here's the unbelievable Gwenpool in black, but she's not ready yet. And these are the heart-shaped hands that she comes with out of package, and pretty much you just can take some pictures with her doing a heart shape over her eyes or on a heart, or just for some selfie action. You can get her doing some kind of unique poses because there are no other legends that can do this, so it's unique to Gwenpool, and I think that's pretty nice. But let's pop them off just for the sake of, and pop in the other hands. We have this peace hand and this phone gripping hand. I gotta find it first. There it is, this tiny little hand. These little bunny rabbit ears or peace hand. So you do have a few options, or a few different reasons to use this. But the phone does slip right in the hand, and it does fit pretty well. The hand will loosen up after several tries of putting it in and out, so just keep note of that. But it does fit pretty nice, and you can get some cool poses out of her once it's in her hand. So here's just one example of the peace sign, her in the phone, her using the phone. This is pretty modern, man. You can see this everywhere today. So I think a lot of people will have fun with this figure. But here's a problem also with the single jointed elbow, especially for females, where females I think have to be dynamic in some areas, and she can't even touch the back of her head and do some ladylike poses without a double jointed elbow. So I think double jointed elbows is something I think the company should really look into more in the future. I know now they can't because it'll really cost, because they'll have to reconstruct new female bodies, but seriously, look at that. There's not much. I mean, you can manipulate it, but it's just a little more leverage at the elbows would be perfect, and a little more diaphragm movement would be great as well. To be fair, I think most people are gonna pose Gwen with the two swords in her hand, and also be careful because the paint will rub in her palms. You see, so that's also a dumb thing. But once in her hands, you can get some really dynamic poses with the swords. Her arms raise up all the way, and that's a great thing on this body. The arms are not limited, at least. Here's the head if you want to put it on. I'm not going to put on the alternate head. I don't find purpose for it. Unless you want to take pictures with the cell phone, then that head is kind of cool for it. These legs don't go up as much as I'd like either. You can kind of manipulate them by twisting that thigh and then lifting the leg up. And this diaphragm joint is kind of useless as well. It doesn't move much. So my flaws with this female figure as far as articulation goes is the single jointed elbows, the weak diaphragm joint, and the legs don't move up as high as they should. Only flaws. She is a pretty figure though, and the white and pink is pretty clean. You see that in the elbows it's pink but painted white, so it looks a little off-white. You can see it. The side looks pretty cool. That little hood in the back looks nice. The penguin is nice too. I'm surprised it wasn't a little MODOK, but the penguin is cool. It's rubber, it's soft. And so I think aesthetically the figure looks pretty good, pretty cool. It's weird how it doesn't really match right there, the width of the white. She has two belts. One has this little holster that you can put your phone in, which is pretty nice. You don't have to lose that. That tiny little accessory can get lost. I'm sure a lot of you will lose it, and now you won't. By the way, I have a remedy for the swords, so they won't cause any more paint rub. I actually have some replacements. They're probably not the best replacements, but they do work. They may not be as threatening as the other swords because they are smaller than average. And if you want to know, these swords are from the Mega Bloks Ninja Turtles. I think these were from, I forgot which ones exactly, but they're a little more metallic. But they fit really well, and the grips are brown just like her regular swords, so they match perfectly. It just has a more metallic sheen to it. It's just a lot smaller, to be honest. But I find that this works better because you can put them inside the sheaths and they won't rub on the back of her head, and they still fit. And I feel like they scale up better with a female. That's something that a female would probably carry around.
Aw, come on, that's sexist.
I don't think she'd be able to carry around two katanas and stuff like that. But seeing that she is a version of Deadpool, or an amalgam of Deadpool and Gwen Stacy, I don't see why she couldn't carry two swords. Here's a live shot of some paint rub. All it takes is a little swipe, and you will get some paint on her head. Luckily, you can take it off. You can just get some water and wipe it down. But it's inconvenient to do that, so I don't think that. Look at that! I even rubbed it even more. Jesus. But like every other Marvel Legend, the head does go up and it does look down. If you want to push it up a little bit, push it forward and then move it down, you can get that broken neck look. But from certain camera angles, it looks pretty cool. It goes all the way up as well. You can move it left and right, and you get a little pivot in there for some attitude, which is pretty nice for her posing, for her pictures. The arms go all the way up. That's great. I love this about this body. Those arms go all the way up. I don't know why they don't do that with all the females. But it does swivel at the shoulder and swivels at the arm or the elbow. Bends one time, single jointed elbow. That's why we need two. The wrist does hinge and swivel. And then, of course, you get this non-existing diaphragm joint, which moves back a little, maybe like a half an inch back, but you don't get any movement forward. And that sucks, man. It really does. I remember the first time I bought a few Spider-Woman figures, I immediately returned them. Before I was really into Spider-Man figures, I bought a few females, and the legs kept popping off, and I couldn't move it around. I got so mad, I brought them all back. And then when I really made my decision on collecting Spider-Man, I went back and bought all the females just to have part of the collection. But I'm not really a fan of female figures. Look at this leg. It doesn't go up. Again, you can manipulate it when you turn that thigh, but you will kind of chip away or make indents on the plastic. But she does look cool when you get her in some like, hey, kind of poses. Yeah. Because if anything, I would see her being as goofy as Deadpool, but deadly as ever. Like, don't underestimate Gwenpool. We do get double jointed knees. You get a thigh swivel. And this new little ankle rotation hinge they have there. It's a new joint they have in the ankle. It reminds me of the Taskmaster, I believe, that moves around. And I think it's cool, but it does create some balance issues because of the looseness, kind of. I don't know. See? This is a really cool figure, but like every other female from the Marvel Legends line, it has its articulation problems. But if you can look past that, I recommend you do pick this figure up if you are a Deadpool fan or Gwen fan. She is a really cool figure, so I do recommend picking up. What do you guys think? If you were able to get this figure, let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on it. Which figure from the Lizard Wave would you like to see next? And if you like this review and you want to see more Spider-Man reviews and custom videos, feel free to like, comment down below, let me know, and feel free to subscribe, y'all. I appreciate it. See you in the next one. Thanks.